you know what? I was gonna start singing the intro, but I don't actually remember what the intro is because I don't really listen. Like whenever I listen to Theorycraft Thursday, I just skip through because it's normally Sam who opens, and I don't really want to listen to anything he says. So I don't actually remember the intro. I know. Was it the Monday show where it's like that one's good. And then you just opens up with Cyphus going like, "Hello, everybody," like that kind of shit. But I don't really know it. I don't really know anything anymore. Something
like that.
Yeah, like I want that next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right. So give everyone a little context. This episode's gonna suck, and by suck I mean it's gonna be me for about 20 minutes until I fall asleep, and then you're gonna get a re-release. You fucking shitbirds. I'm tired as fuck. Sam is in Boston. I was up working on campus for about 24 hours. No, that's a day. 26. About 26 hours. Maybe 7. I don't know. I want to die. So I'm not... And I didn't have my tickets to Boston. Turns out one of my tickets just turns out I didn't have it. Turns out it never happened. So I bought a plane ticket to go see my boy Scrunkies, and the only one I could get was at 6 a.m. So like, did the most all-nighter of all-nighters that was just like fucking pure critical thinking, and now I have a flight at 6 a.m. So I just want to fucking die, but here I am, just suffering for your enjoyment. So let's try to talk about Dota 2, because there was that one guy who got mad at Cyphus for his show sucking on Wednesday, right? That happened.
Yeah, that did. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, so I want to... This is for you.
Thank you.
All right.
It.
Dota 2... As well, this guy doesn't know. I'm mostly a one player. I've been branching out a little bit into mid. I've just accepted that I think I actually just really like playing OD. Like I have such a love for any time. If you ever hear me really talk about itemization, I really maybe I oversell a little bit, but I definitely value plus damage like way more for various reasons. And Sam wanted to do a little segment about plus damage versus attack speed. And a couple of the points are like, one, if you're stutter stepping, like you're chasing someone, do the auto attack run. Attack speed's not really helping you that much. It's only helping you for the startup time on your animation, like the pre-swing. The fact that you're speeding up your backswing doesn't really help at all if you're chasing someone, unless you're like max move speed and they're a fucking like no boots CM. Because like you run after someone and then you do the swing and you cancel it as fast as you can, but then you still need time to catch up to them because you take whatever 0.2 seconds for your swing to go off and they have 0.2 seconds to catch up, and it's going to take you a little while to like make up for you moving at 0 move speed versus them moving at 300. That would be that. There's like that's probably a really easily known. Yeah, 300 move speed is 300 units a second, right? Anyway, I'm not going to figure that out. I'm tired of shit. But it would take some amount of time. So because attack speed, it's proportionally, some part of it is gone to your like pre-swing, and some part of it is given to your backswing. So the part of it that's set into your backswing doesn't actually affect fucking anything. So for that reason, like when you're chasing someone, or if you're just trying to like fucking like blink and do some bursts with like an Echo Saber or whatever, or just like the pure psychological factor, like when I'm playing Lone Druid, my DPS on my bear may be pretty comparable whether I go like an attack speed or damage build. Like if I decide to build a Hyperstone or a there's no plus damage items for Lone Druid really anymore. If I decide to go like Moonshard versus MKB or something, I know those aren't equivalent, but fuck you. Just if I hit them and you get that little like fucking like when your health bar kind of ghosts, like you lose some health and there's that like little white ghost that then falls down. Like anytime you hit someone and then it just fucking like ghosts their health bar, like there's so much psychological damage to that. I can't really put a precise value on it because I'm very tired and I want to die. But if you trust me at all, plus damage is really fucking good. Cyphus, where was I going with this? I really don't have more than a 10-second memory right now.
I think you were trying to say that there's a re-release coming.
Fuck you. I honestly have no fucking idea where I am right now, okay? I want you to understand that. Why was I talking about plus damage? Why the fuck? Oh my god, Cyphus, I told you this wasn't gonna work. Anyway, oh yeah, OD. Okay, yeah, so like one of the cool things about OD is almost at any point in the game, anytime he hits a motherfucker, like he doesn't have a great amount of attack speed. Attack speed's awesome on him, don't get me wrong. But he doesn't have that much, but every single one of his fucking attacks, like you see it chunk the shit out of them, and then every subsequent attack, even chunkier. I'm gonna drink water because I'm gonna die. Alright, I'm dead. Yeah, so OD is just fun. And so the first OD game I played recently in a 5-stack, I like fucked up my first Astral horribly. Like Skrunk was on someone with battery assault on Clockwork, and could you not clack your fucking dishes for me, please, if you're gonna be here? So Skrunk was on someone, and then I just like astraled them because it's like, oh, we'll reposition, and then like their whole team showed up, we all fucking died or something, and I was like, that was a bad astral. That was a bad stroll. And then I didn't do any more really bad astrals for the rest of the game, and I was like, okay, all right, I got the hang of it. Sorry for that early one, guys, but now I'm good. And then the next game I played, I just fucked everything up. Like a fucking a Phantom Assassin like tried to kill Roland on CM, and instead of astraling CM, I was like, oh, I'll just get PA out of here. And right as I did that, Skrunk Blink called, and then just the call missed. And we didn't kill PA, and then we lost the team fight, and then we lost the game because we didn't high ground when we could have. And I just did bad shit the entire rest of the game. And I just wanted to formally apologize to Fafnir and Skrunk and Roland and Chilled for that game.
It sounds pretty embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie.
It was really bad. Like you know, sometimes you have those games, and you just wish you could go back in time and break your hands so you never tried to play Dota. That was one of those games where I was like, because I've been feeling real good about my play. Like anytime in the ham team practices, I'm like, Jesus, I'm so fucking good. Like I'm so much better than Ursinity. It's insane. And then a game like this happens, and I'm like, why do I even try to find happiness if this is what waits for me? You know what I mean, Cyphus?
I really do. Dota is a game for masochists. I've known that for some time.
Yeah.
Nothing but misery and pain await you.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I also wanted to address you fucking idiots. You guys brought up Five Guys. I am actually the preeminent Five Guys scholar and historian on this podcast. I want you to be aware. Yeah, this should have been a Five Guys podcast. Where was Sam to do the stupid intro? But dude, when I was like 8, this is a lot of Dota stuff, so I'm sure that the guy who was raging at you is going to be really happy. But just when I was 8, I went to the first Five Guys. I think was at Bethany Beach. Maybe this was the second one, but this was like before it became a chain. But the first Five Guys was at Bethany Beach, was this like beach that's near Rehoboth, which is the childhood beach I went to. And like that place was so fucking good. Like they'd give you a burger, wasn't even a fucking burger. It was just like they took like a state, like the shape of a state, and then like gave that meat to like a dog to mangle, and then they were like, this is a burger now. And you're like, what is this shape? It's, I don't know, it's like fucking like if Bob Marley like shook his head a bunch and then you took like a still frame from a bird's eye view, like that's what the burger looked like. That was good, right? I liked that one. And
yeah, that was maybe the best description ever on this show. Ever.
Thank you. That's why I have you here, because when Roland's not here to kiss my ass, I know Cyphus will just be honest with me about how great I am.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, so Five Guys is fantastic, and yeah, they sell peanuts and shit. Everything that they have is fucking their fries. I'm sure that was an attractive noise. Their fries are made in peanut oil and shit. The first few Five Guys were like, please don't ever take our peanuts out because there's a kid around here who has peanut allergies. Like, they're super nice. Anyway, Five Guys is the best, and as a Californian now, I can still say Five Guys is way better than In-N-Out. I mean, they're just different burgers, right? In-N-Out is the pinnacle of a fast food burger. Like, if you take the absolute pinnacle of, like, the fucking McDonald's or Burger King or fucking, I don't know, Carl's Jr. formula, like, what would that look like if it was actually done well? Like, that's In-N-Out. Are you doing shit right now?
Oh, was I not supposed to be?
You're supposed to sit here and listen until I need you.
Oh, yeah,
What have you been
sorry.
playing lately, Cyphus? What heroes have you been playing? You fucking piece of shit.
The last hero I played was Anti-Mage.
Yeah, when was that?
I don't know what I'm talking
Did
about.
he have Blink yet?
Yeah, he had Blink. Yeah.
Okay, so they had already put Blink in on Anti-Mage when like you had played him last. Okay, well that's
Yeah,
good.
so it's at least been that long. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I think he's probably always had Blink.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, man. OD is super fun. I've been having a lot of drew with him. I'll talk. You know, we're gonna do a re-release. It's gonna happen, but I'll talk a little bit about just like enjoying the patch while it lasts, or just kind of like things to do. You know, in a post exciting Dota world. Not to say Dota isn't exciting as like a concept, but like the patch isn't. And you guys were talking about kind of like you know, playing heroes that you that maybe you just branch out to other heroes just because you're fucking bored. That's something that you guys were saying, like, because like Roland, maybe Roland does that. I mean, that's part of like he plays an absurd amount of Dota and he plays a lot of heroes, so that's where you got from. I was super tired and I had to listen to anything to keep me awake, so I listened to your shitty show.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
I'm honored.
But could you? I'm trying to. One. I feel like once you get to this point in the patch, you kind of have a decent idea of what's going to be buffed. Like, I feel like Ember Spirit's going to get a little love. I would hope Lone Druid's going to get a little love. I think Viper probably might. Maybe Lion's going to get touched. Lena's definitely going to get touched a little bit. Say again?
Maybe Troll Warlord.
Oh, yeah, Troll Warlord. Yeah, because, I mean, we'll introduce that later. CM probably. But, you know, you can say, like, okay, these are the heroes that I haven't really played all patch, but they're heroes that I do like. And maybe they're played in a kind of weird way that doesn't work in the meta. Like Ember Spirit isn't really played in a way that works in Dota right now, but if a big patch is coming, you know, there's a very good reason to want to be more practiced on whatever hero is about to become meta than everyone else. For example, like when Lone Druid became meta, I was so fucking ready to be better than every other motherfucker I ever came across. Like, I just fucking won every goddamn game I played. Because it was like the skill that I've been training with fucking like in the hyperbolic time chamber this whole time, you know? I was going dynamic, fucking gravity turned up to like 700 times Earth gravity playing this Lone Druid, and then they just give me a fucking AoE fear on both my units. So I was like ready to kill everyone. So similarly, I mean, I've been playing a lot of Ember Spirit. I played like a bristleback game recently. What else? Do you know what else I've been playing? I feel like Arc Warden might get into Captain's mode because he's honestly not that good right now. It's just Arc Warden players are Arc Warden players, and you're not used to playing against them. But I mean, like if once you get to the post-patch world, and especially when everyone is so used to playing against all the meta stuff, I think that's when you want to start playing the heroes that aren't seeing a lot of play that you are strong on personally that you want to be fresh on again. So like Tiny would be a good one to start playing a bit. So just like look at whatever heroes have like kind of shit win rates, aren't really get picked up much, and whatever you're really into. Like I love playing Ember Spirit. I'm just not a mid, and I used to just really fucking suck at him despite how much I liked him. But now, I mean, you know, I play with stacks with friends or whatever, and I've played enough Ember Spirit when, you know, I was a high MMR player, so as long as I was like decent, I would be able to like, you know, have my hero perform. And it's a lot easier to
Pugna?
What'd you say? Pugna?
You played some Pugna, yeah.
I didn't play Pugna.
You sure did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah.
That was co-op bot matches to get Roland's experience out so he could play ranked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that Pugna game was interesting though. I'm glad I played him though, because the Flatline special. If anyone's wondering, the illustrious Flatline special, that's an aggro tri-lane with Pugna, Undying, and Dazzle. Dazzle can heal bomb Undying zombies. You have you have 3 healers basically, and it's just like relentless push, and you just create this like swamp of horseshit between Tombstone and just trying to engage into a Pugna, and then whenever like you try to invade their zone, you know, Dazzle can heal bomb, and like anyone who invades in on their space, they have the heal bombs and the zombies and all that shit. It's like a very big area control plus pushing early game lineup. And then you have like anything mid, whether it be an Invoker or a Death Prophet, Viper, Razor, you know, something that's going to help a bit for push and give you some team fight. And then you have Proud on Lone Druid solo safe lane, or Clinks, you know, whatever. Or another team we played against that did a similar strategy, did sniper solo safe against certain offlaners. So that's like a strategy I love, except that I don't play Pugna and no one does. So whenever I'm like, yo, can we play the flatline special, fam? And then they're like, oh, yeah, that sounds cool. And then I say like, okay, who here can play Pugna? And then someone is like, I've played him twice, and that's normally the best we can get. So if you ever want to play with me competitively and be a fucking boon, be a Pugna player. Because Pugna, what a hero. He might get buffed. He's so close to like Pugna's one of those really weird ass niche heroes.
I love Pugna.
That was a dog. What'd you say?
I love Pugna. I've played a ton of Pugna.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Do you want to join my team?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can replace Ursinity.
Okay, yeah, I feel on par, you know? I feel like you just put me on Pugna, send me mid, it's gonna be weird, you know? And I'll just...
Yeah, just a real solid mid Pugna. That's kind of like our bread and butter is the mid Pugna, to be truthful.
Yeah.
That's where we really shine is when we get our mid Pugna in full swing. Yeah, what a fucking hero. I love that he's just this shitty fucking like gassy baby dead fetus kind of deal. Like that's like, look at this hero design. Have you ever even looked at him? He's just this fucking like bloated rib cage with a fucking crushed up skull and then just like fucking dick horns and a cape. And then they just gave him like a fucking cape. Like he just looks like such a goddamn nerd. Like, look at this model. This Pugna. This is the worst episode I've ever done. I'm seriously like, my eyes are twitching and shit. I just want everyone to understand how much I'm bleeding right now for you. Should I just re-release the episode? I can't do this.
Yeah, I think it's time. I think we say, that you're
carry on my wayward son.
You're gonna meet Darcy.
You are done.
The boys will be back in town in Boston.
The boys back in town. I want to die. Okay, so this episode is 6.88. This is the first episode we did of 6.88, where I was like, yo, what if Troll Warlord was good? And then Sam was like, what are we going to pair with it? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. And then he played Crystal Maiden, and it was bad.
Yeah, I was going to ask if this went anywhere, if this could have possibly gone well.
So like the thing that we were doing with Void or with Troll that we liked is we were playing like Void Troll, and that way this was when Void was a lot less carry-ish before his bash got changed to be overall crazy and not just crazy in Chronosphere. So we would just like wait for him to chrono, and then I would ulti, and then it would basically be this like utility Void for a brief moment in time would ascend to like Super Saiyan 3. And he would just bash the shit out of everyone and kill them in Chronosphere. And that was like pretty fucking dope. And there weren't very many good junglers. Like right now, I would probably do it with like a Venomancer maybe. But like Troll is one carry that is pretty. It's pretty easy for him to just like win his lane on his own. Between he has 2 whirling axes. So he has like 2 pretty decent nukes at level 2. Because you get Q level 1, or no, you get W level 1, so you have like a 75 damage kind of AoE nuke and slow, plus your 600 range attack. And then at level 2, like, you get faster and you turn it into 2 nukes, and then at 3 you have like a bunch of attack speeds. So like Troll Warlord can, he can fuck on some motherfuckers. Like he's got 600 range. It's not like a Sand King or an Axe is gonna force him out of lane just by existing. So the idea was, Troll Warlord, he's decent at taking care of his own lane, and then CM can like jungle and shit. But if I were to update this a little bit, I think I would... Well, I wouldn't play Troll because he sucks. He's probably going to get buffed next patch. But, like, Troll Veno is good. And, like, there's so much focus right now on having, like, a carry that can hold his own in a lane, or just, like, have a carry that can pair with one other support and not, you don't need to, like, tri-lane against their offlaner or their aggro duel or whatever the fuck. And Troll is honestly pretty good for that. So I feel like he's going to have a place relatively soon if he gets buffed. Just the issue is he sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, roll the thing, dude. I want to...
All right, I'm rolling it right now. Here it is.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Theorycrafting Thursday. I am happy to be with you in your office, car, or other venue of listening to podcasts. I, of course, am Cindy, and I'm sitting here with Proud, of course.
Hello. Hello.
No
Hey.
flub this week, but we are going to step up our game to compensate for our lack of sniper players.
I'm not gonna do that.
Neither am I, honestly. Like, I don't want to be on the level with sniper players. Sorry, Gothier, sorry, Flub, but none of you today. This, of course, is Theorycrafting Thursday. It's everybody's favorite Game of Thrones podcast. We're going to be talking about everybody's least favorite character, Tommen the Hype Slayer, ruiner of dreams, destroyer of Clegane Bowls, and that's
Isn't
about
this
it.
a spoiler? Aren't you spoiling right now?
Not a spoiler. No, I mean, Tommen, he's a pretty boring kid. I don't like 12-year-olds.
You know what? Honestly, actually, he is like the most disappointing and boring character that's happened. Anyway,
Anyway, we're going to talk about Dota 2 instead, because we don't want to wallow in our sorrow that Tommen is boring and Joffrey was at least interesting. So,
oh my god, yeah, that's true.
how have you been proud in Dota 2? I don't really care about you.
Dota
Like,
2. Yeah, I was gonna say.
like, personally, like that is irrelevant. Let's talk about your Dota 2
Thank
history.
God it is. Dota 2's been good. Juggernaut's been treating me pretty good. PA is a thing again, so it's been good. The Jug build, man. I lost my first two losses on it happened, besides the one that we played for our show last week.
Of course.
But beyond that, it was like I have like 15 wins and 3 total losses. So new Jug build is doing pretty fucking great.
We saw it in the major, right?
No, actually, people, including you, I think 3 or 4 times throughout the match were like, "Oh man, they're doing your Jug build," and like, no, it wasn't even like. Maybe it also had one of the items in it, but my build was never played.
Oh, I feel like I saw that in something recently. Maybe it was just like I was watching a streamer or something. But
Someone had a Vanguard in one game, and then someone else had a Diffusal in one game. That's about as close as we got.
well, it's close enough. It's close enough.
But yeah, there was a Miracle bought like Manta first on like mid Juggernaut, which 1 isn't the same lane and 2 is completely out of order. And someone's like, "Look, it's your build. Manta is in it." I'm like, "Okay, go home, dude."
Close
Fuck
enough.
off.
Close enough. Thanks for listening, whoever that was.
It was Grouty.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it
Never
wasn't.
mind.
It
Don't.
wasn't. I'm sorry. Not.
Okay.
It wasn't Grouty. I don't want to be an asshole.
I was gonna say you're inciting
Grouty
me.
Grouty was at one point. It was like you and then Grouty and then I think someone else on Twitter hit me up about it, and I kept looking through the games like, where is my fucking? It's just not. No one did it. Anyway, That's my life.
So that's just been your week in Dota, just PA. Well, again, we're gonna talk about 6.88.
Lone
So I
fucking
don't want to
sucks
spoil
now.
anything.
What happened? He's just. I haven't won a fucking game on Lone Druid in forever.
You know why? I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And it's because Spirit Bear still has 128 attack range and still
I
has
know.
50.
I hate
And-
it.
Even the Brewmaster Pandas have 150 attack range.
Right? Like, what the fuck?
That's some classism, discrimination. I don't even know what to call it.
I can make my bear a panda. It still doesn't have fucking 150 attack range.
Yeah, it's just a sad day.
It's some stupid bullshit, man. Fuck this game. No,
Yep.
something went wrong with Lone Druid, man. At least mid Lone Druid fucking sucks.
Has it been because you're against certain mids, or is it just in general?
One of the big things is the armor change thing on creeps, so my bear doesn't do like 25% or whatever the fuck it was bonus damage to creeps anymore, so it's just like that much harder to fucking last hit. And then my like mid lane is just a little bit worse because I'm down like maybe 3 CS from where I ought to be, and it just all fucking snowballs. And then when I press D, I don't get a free fucking rapier anymore. It's like a rapier -2, and it sucks, and I hate it.
That's rough. But
tough life.
all in all, a good week for you, you'd say.
Yeah, whatever.
I have had a similarly. I've been having actually a good like last 2 weeks in Dota. I've been winning a lot, and granted, I'm playing like below my regular MMR since I'm playing in this international queue, which at this point it's almost the same. My international is 45, and my solo is like 47, so it's not a huge difference. But I've been having a good time just playing international queue. I've obviously not obviously, but of course I've been supporting almost every single game. And I've been having a surprisingly good time. My one like begrudging statement will be that I'm honestly totally fine with people jungling in my games. I believe I brought this up in a recent week that like if you're a core player and like I don't want to force you to play support, but if you're not good at it, like that's fine. Whatever, do your jungle thing. Have fun playing Legion or whatever garbage you do. That being said, if the enemy team picks multiple invisibility heroes and you then decide to jungle, that's when you're a bad person. Like, there are certain situations where, like, it doesn't matter how like much of a pub game it is, where like it really doesn't matter. It's just so frustrating. Like I've had multiple games, probably my last 5 games. Actually, I'm looking at them. I had 2 different Rubik games where people did this to me, and you know, people were nice about it. But like, I'd rather you pick a freaking support than be nice. Like, I'd rather have some jerk playing Ogre Magi than a nice guy playing Legion Commander in the jungle.
Yeah, anytime I jungle at all, which is believe it or not on Lone Druid specifically, and then there's a bounty hunter and like fucking one camp goes wrong, like I'm fucking done. Like that's it.
Yep.
Everything's fucked. Like you don't play a jungle. Like what makes a jungler okay is that you watch some fucking goddamn YouTube video to make it so you get like level 6 at 4 minutes or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Which you can do with a Venomancer now, which is fucking funny as shit.
I saw that too.
By the way,
Don't tell
yeah.
Roland.
Yeah, no, I won't. Yeah, so like if you fuck up so much, like if your jungle's fucked up, you're fucked. He's fucking you're fucked. He's just fucked. He's just fucked.
Yeah, Elsie got buffed though. She's
Okay.
not on my list of heroes that we're going to talk about, but if
She's
she's
good.
not on yours either, we should at least mention that. Elsie did get buffed. She is good. I don't know if we've brought up this recently, but she's very good in like off lane or aggro duo lanes, and I mean she's good in the jungle if you can support a jungler. But that's a whole nother tangent. But yeah, so that's my week in Dota. It's been just a lot of having fun supporting. I'm playing mid Kunkka because Kunkka got buffed, which we'll talk about later, of course. But
How much later? Like, immediately, basically, when we're done with this shit.
I mean, immediately, but like we'll find out. It'll be at least a few minutes. I want to keep
Okay.
people waiting. I gotta
Yeah,
tantalize them
I'm
with
gonna
some
count.
morsels. But yeah, that's about it. Just a lot of Rubik, honestly, and AA. Like AA is really really good right now. If you have to pick a support in a pub and you still want to like have fun and like masquerade as a core, just play AA and refuse to buy wards, get a Midas, and then you'll get Ags, and like it's
Nice.
awesome. That's
Yeah, Midas, good item.
well. You support occasionally. You know how there's certain supports I feel that work perfectly into like if you're a core player that's forced to support, there are certain supports for that type of person, right? Would you agree with that statement?
Sure. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you for your resounding confidence in my statement. AA, I feel like, is one of those supports where, like, if you're a core player and you hate playing support and you're like, oh, I don't want to have like mana boots at 38 minutes and nothing else, play like a hero like AA or another greedy support, and like, you can get work done. Like Silencer is another good one, and that it's a lot of fun. So I've been playing a bit of AA. Also, like AA is the perfect counter pick because like I feel like every single game has at least 2 armlet carriers on it, and if you're playing an armlet hero against an AA, you're gonna have a sad time. That's
Yeah,
that.
even on Lifestealer when I'm against AA now, I'm like, I'm just gonna build fucking S and Y. Like we ain't doing this fucking armlet shit. Not with the fucking AA in my game.
That's for sure. So let's just hop right into our segment for this week.
The seg. Here we go.
Not surprisingly, we
We
are going
need
to be
a
talking about
jingle.
6.88 in our segment this week. 6.88. It did release almost like the night after the major, if I'm correct.
I don't really care if you're correct.
Yeah, well, I do. There are plenty of patch notes reviews that you can find. I know Purge did one that was pretty good. He was very wrong about the Kunkka thing, but, I won't hold any grudges. But, we haven't bothered to do one of those for this patch because this is not a big patch. So instead, what we've done is we have each picked our 3 highlights of the patch, and we're going to just talk about those. And that being said, if you would like to talk to either of us or anybody on the show, on any of the shows, you can go on Twitter, and I'm at Arsenity, Pred is at Proud Dota, and get at us if you want to talk about a specific hero that we did not mention. I would be more than happy to Theorycraft with you or to tell you that your hero sucks, as I've been doing recently. I feel bad about it, but it's true. People
Who
have
sucks?
been Terrorblade.
Terrorblade doesn't suck. You
Okay.
just don't like him.
We don't need to have this argument. I think that hero is garbage.
Whoa! What the fuck?
I think that hero is garbage. Apparently, we
Oh
need
my
to have
God.
this argument, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like our podcast will be worse off, like, the less knowledgeable you sound, so we don't have to have that argument.
gosh, yeah. I mean, I feel like there's a good reason that hero is picked like once in the entire major out of all those 100 games or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, it's been well established that I'm an opinionated Dota theory crafter, player, etc. Sometimes to a fault, but all I'm saying is like I feel like every single time somebody picks Terrorblade in my game, I lose, or like I win despite the Terrorblade. I don't win because
pub
of Terrorblade.
Terrorblade pickers are typically pretty shit. Not gonna debate you on that one.
I like. We'll give it like another minute. I just want to qualify my statement. Terrorblade is a good hero in certain situations, right? He's a high armor, low HP hero, and if he is given the space to farm, and if they're a good reflection, or I think it's called reflection, right? His spell targets, he's like legitimately a good hero. But in many instances, he is not a good hero, and that's when I draw issue with the hero, right? He's not like a first pickable hero, like we talked about last week.
Yeah, he's definitely not the best hero in the game like Lifestealer. I mean, Lifestealer kind of remains to be seen a bit, but yeah, he's no Lifestealer, but I wouldn't say he's bad by any stretch.
Yeah, I think he's mediocre at best. But anyway, let's hop into our 6.88 thoughts. What is your first hero you would like to talk about?
Well,
I assume we're not talking about any items.
So a joke. I'm not actually. No, it is. Okay, so I was gonna say originally I just have PA is dope, which I think I can expand a little bit. Just the general changing of the guard in terms of carries, I watch for every patch, and it seems like in general, like Lifestealer is out a little bit. Like he's still in, but he's out, like a little bit. Like before he was just fucking like center stage. And now, there's like a stool in front of him, but you can still see him. But there's definitely a stool there.
Yeah, he's still good.
Yeah, he's still good, just not quite as like.
He got a significant nerf.
He doesn't like man fight everyone late game, and also have insane early game, and like have mid game fucking burst potential.
Absolutely.
So, and his versatility went down a bit. You kind of want to go Echo Saber almost all the time now. So yeah, like Lifestealer is out a little bit. All the other carries that were good, like Sven and Juggernaut, are still like they're still there. Juggernaut is more so for me now, and with Juggernaut being more so there, Sven is also more so there. But PA is actually pretty solid now. Being able to Phantom Strike on BKB targets is huge, especially if one of them is Lifestealer. And then in addition, something that I figured out the first game I played of it is like, holy shit, I can Phantom Strike Ancients now. Like I can fucking farm without Battle Fury. I can fucking just kill Ancients. Dude, it's so huge. Oh my god. Yeah,
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. There was like a Granite Golem. It's like, fuck, I can't farm this very quickly. But then I did, and it was awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah,
it's really good.
And I feel bad because like we just ran PA like 2 weeks ago at this point, and I feel like I don't know, like I don't know if we've recorded enough episodes to have enough instances of that, but I feel like there have been multiple times where we record an episode with a hero, and then like a week later they get buffed or like changed drastically,
Faceless
and it's like
Void
okay.
And Marana, like we had Faceless Marana, and then they gave Marana bullshit, crazy good ags, and changed Faceless Void up completely. Not completely, but pretty significantly. Like I'd play the new Faceless Void. I didn't really like the old one. The new Marana is also playable. Anyway, but yeah, PA is like really good in general. My PA build now is basically the exact same as my Juggernaut build. I was trying. There was the original report of this dude who got like 6K playing Vanguard Deso, and then someone else came out and was like, well, I got 7K with Vanguard Diffusal Deso or some shit like that. So it's like, man, why don't I try that? Because I love Diffusal right now. But I just kind of eventually, I was playing a game with Vafa, and he was on TA, and he bought Deso, and I was like, okay, well, I won't do Deso, I'll just do my literal Juggernaut build, and it's great. It's fucking awesome. Love it.
So are you
fucking, yeah.
So are you gonna be the guy that's like, yo, I got 7.5K with this build? Is that your plan? You can make like tons of Reddit karma. Yeah, yeah. I feel in the same boat. Like I said, I like PA, and maybe I'll start picking the hero.
No, you never said that. What the fuck?
I do like PA. I just thought she sucked.
Okay, whatever.
That is an important distinction. Like I like Terrorblade. I just think he's not good a lot of times.
You don't like Terrorblade. You hate him.
I used to play Terrorblade before he got completely changed.
Okay, you used to play like everything though.
That's true. I do play like every hero. But there are a few that
I don't know what to trust when you tell me you like a hero anymore. Like you like them so many different ways, but you also hate them so many different ways. It's just...
All right, so here's how I think about Dota, right? There are heroes I like, there are heroes I think are good, there are heroes I think are bad, and there are heroes I don't like. And heroes that I think are good, I might not necessarily like, but I will play because I'm a tryhard at the end of the day, and I want to win. Do anything for that W.
Oh, I understand that. It's just like colloquially, when you refer to them, you always just use the word like, so it's difficult for me to keep them all together.
Okay, that's fair. Well, also, I mean, there's 110 or 111 heroes or
That's
whatever.
fair.
So
All right. Well, all right. I'll keep going. Yeah. So in addition to PA, Luna's also pretty decent with Lifestealer out a little bit. Morphling, I think, is pretty solid now. And then like Clink, CK, and TB also all got a little bit of a push. So look forward to those guys. That's kind of those are the carries I'm looking out for. I'm mostly going to be playing PA, Jug, and Morphling, I think, these days.
I assume Luna's not in your three, right? Because I want to go on a little Luna tangent
Do
for
whatever the fuck you want, dude. I don't own you.
sick. All right, Luna is awesome this patch. I feel like, I mean, we played a bunch of Luna games as a team like last patch, and
Yeah.
I
I
feel
got
like we had
Ags and
mixed
Ultimate. It was
success.
pretty debatable.
Yeah, but I feel like the Luna buffs were pretty not like no. I don't think any single patches, any single buffs or nerfs this patch drastically changed heroes. But I feel like
Yeah.
enough heroes that were on the edge, on like the precipice of being like either good or bad, got those changes to like really tip them over. And I feel like Luna is one of those where you can now like finagle some kind of Luna builds that'll actually be really legit.
Yeah. It's so hard with her. Her glaives are so restrictive in terms of builds. Like I tried so hard to work Diffusal in because I feel like that's just the item right now.
Mhm.
And just like yeah, I mean it's there's no synergy between Diffusal blades and that. And then like if you try to innovate on the build at all, like what do you change? Like what do you do?
Yeah,
Like Dragonlance is okay kind of, but it's just like her build is so set. It's fucking set.
Yeah, Luna has the weird issue that a lot of cores have, and even a lot of supports have, where all three of her abilities are good, and she needs all three of them, and she needs her ult. So you either have to like do drastically different builds where you're going to suffer in one respect or another, or like you need to like get just crazy leveled early, and that's not viable all the time. So a lot of times, we'll see like the DPS like physical damage Lunas that go like they max aura and they get glaives, and
What?
then you'll see
Never seen
the
that shit in my life.
oh I see it every once in a while. Not so much recently since the Ags got buffed and it's good now. But then there's also the more meta ish build where people max Lucent Beam and they get ult and they get Ags and that's good. And I think that's the more standard build. But sometimes you want to have that physical damage and it helps. Like if
I
you're
don't think
stacking
so, man. I
if
don't
you're
think there's
stacking ancients with an HOD build and you can't take your stack of ancients because you put 4 points into Lucent Beam and 1 point into ult and you're level 7, like why the heck did you stack all those ancients,
ain't
right?
nobody taking a stack at level 7 though. No matter how many points you got in Moonglaive.
I feel like you could take it closer to level 7. Maybe that is an important distinction.
Maybe. I mean, you can do it at 9, but by that point you got enough points in glaives. You got like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I mean her
Anyway,
ults.
if you're not putting full points in Lucent Beam on Luna, I think you ought to pick a different hero. I think that's a huge mistake.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I won't. This is an argument to have another day, I suppose. We're bringing up all kinds of contentious subjects this episode already, and they're not even on our list of.
I'm just aghast. I mean, maybe this is some like meta shit, like fucking who was it? Solo? No, it was Silent maybe or Illidan who played the No Dragon Breath Dragon Knight. Where I'm like, just because something happened doesn't mean it's okay.
Well, situationally, like, all right. So imagine this. All right,
In
you're running
what
a
world
push.
do you not want
Okay.
Lucid Beam?
In
You
this
have
in
an
this world.
ulti, and that is dependent on it. Like,
In this world that I'm about to talk about, this is the world. You're running a push strat, right? You have a Luna safe lane, you have Avenge support, you have a Nature's Prophet off lane. You're pushing down towers, you're trying to rax by like 20 minutes. You don't need 4 levels in Lucent Beam and an ult. You need levels in Aura and Glaive so you can punch down
that
towers.
is not even half true.
That is totally a thing that
Oh
happens.
my god. If your entire team gets like 2 waves of auto attacks off with the Lucid Beam, like the difference between level 1 and 2, 1 point of, or sorry, with the aura, 1 point of Lucid Beam is that damage difference. And then also it kills everyone with your ulti so they can't like walk into you and fight.
But like, it doesn't do damage to towers, though.
Oh, okay. That's what fucking.
All right.
God,
All
this
right.
is stupid, man. What happened?
Maybe we'll play a Luna lane next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight someone. I'm like getting mad.
Okay, so my first hero that I want to talk about is actually a hero we're going to be playing today.
Thank God.
A spoiler for like 20 minutes later. We're playing Crystal Maiden, and Crystal Maiden got buffed this patch. She also got buffed in the last few patches, actually. She's one of these heroes that has been continually buffed because she hasn't been super played. She's also a hero that even pre-buffs, she was getting picked, I believe, even in the grand finals of the major. She was first phased by OG all the time for Fly. And this is a hero I used to hate. Again, reinforcing the fact that I'm an opinionated, oftentimes wrong Dota player.
100%.
But CM's awesome now. She got buffed. She got plus 25 radius on Nova, which is her nuke, and plus 25 range, casting range on Frostbite, her ensnare / stun / jungling mechanic.
It was like last time we played with a CM, they kept calling it grip. Like, why the fuck are people calling Frostbite grip?
They thought they were playing Bane.
I don't know, man. Anyway, go on.
But yeah, I mean that's about that. CM, I don't have her recent buffs offhand, but she's been a hero that's been on the rise for a while. I feel like the most significant buff to her is not necessarily a buff directly to the hero, but a buff to the existence of Windlace buffs this hero like crazy. And I've actually been playing CM in pub games, which is like, if you look at my Dota buff, I've played CM a few times recently. Then you'll have to go back to like 2013 or something to find games of me playing CM, unless I randomed it or like it was playing low prio. Because I had a very firm stance that CM was a garbage hero for like years, and I'm just recently coming to terms with the hero. She still has some key weaknesses, but she's definitely better now, thanks to this patch, thanks to the previous patches, and thanks to Windlace. So that's about that.
Windlace is a big deal on CM. I remember I think I was playing a hero once, and like Windlace was, CM was like faster than me because I was like a 195 or 295 move speed hero, and CM had like boots plus lace. She had like Tranquil's lace, and she was like way faster than me. I was like, what the fuck? Like it's not how Dota's supposed to work. This is happening to me.
Yeah, I mean, we brought this up during our like initial patches when we were talking about Windlace, but Windlace has proven over the course of whatever it's been, like the last like couple months of this patch, that there are certain heroes that really like Windlace is pretty much a game changer, and I feel like CM is one of those few heroes. I feel like Jakiro might also be on that list of like Jakiro with Tranquils or with Mana Boots versus Jakiro with Tranquils or Mana Boots plus Windlace are like two almost completely different heroes. These like really slow supports that are balanced around being slow and sluggish benefit so much from Windlace that it's awesome. So CM is definitely in that boat, and hopefully we'll win tonight. But I think I've been winning a good few games on CM. Granted, I've been on a pretty ridiculous like winning spree. It's not a streak. It's been permeated by random losses. Well, yeah, you know, a spree can have a loss every here and there, but I've been doing pretty well.
That's fair. I just want a little update. I did a lot of research into anyone who's ever played Luna. Everybody in the club getting Q.
All right, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just like I saw that in a few random pub games, and that's it.
Probably, maybe if you're farming real nice, you get like 2 points in Aura, so you're like, well, I can do this and be really greedy and not have my nuke that my ulti is dependent upon until like level 8. But man, don't do that.
Okay, all right. I mean, I'm happy to be.
You're
wrong.
not a Luna player. It's okay. I'm sure you
Definitely
saw it and you see something new and you're like, new meta, but no, it's not.
Yeah, I am one to just blindly follow my idiot pubs that like to do things like apparently max aura on Luna, which is apparently not good. Anyway, what's your next hero?
Okay.
I assume it's not Luna.
All right.
Nor is Terrorblade.
All right, we got Trent Reznor and Jay Veno.
That's two heroes, not
AKA
one, buddy.
Treant and Venomancer. Well, okay, so here's the thing, all right? Venomancer can jungle super fucking fast now with the change to make piercing damage the god amongst killing creeps. And Treant gained 6 fucking base damage.
That's a lot.
Did you know that? He is like 92, I think it was. Is that the number? I mean, do you even know?
I don't play that hero. Flub is our resident Treant player.
Yeah, it's huge, dude. It's incredible.
I would bring up the fact that Lion, like when Lion was over the tipping point of like between being like a bad support and a really good support, it was because he got 6 base damage and he could actually zone effectively. Treant is a different case, but 6 or 7 base damage is a big difference. It sounds insignificant. Like Weaver just got 2 base damage, and you know intuitively you're like, all right, 2 damage, who cares? But when you really when you play a game against it like that, that's a difference. You know, that's why mid players get that extra Iron Branch or they get that Fairy Fire. Like 2 damage is a big deal. It makes sense. Yeah. It adds up.
And 6, I mean, when you're already doing a bunch of damage, like so I just looked at it's 91. But one of the big things in terms of that I thought of when I saw this was like as soon as the last patch hit, you had Bounty Hunter running at you with Orb of Venom plus Windlace,
Hmm.
and that was just really fucking strong. Then they made Windlace a little bit more expensive. They nerfed Bounty in a bunch of different ways. But Treant Protector has gotten buffs. Like he already was a really good early. He was one of the only heroes who would buy Orb of Venom level 1 and just punch you in the dick.
Hmm.
And now he can buy Windlace Orb of Venom, and he has enough mana for I think it's 3 Leech Seeds at level 1. So like I played a Treant Protector game level 1. I bought like 1 ward or something, just to throw the other support a bone. Um, yeah, you can cast like 3 Leech Seeds with level 1 now. Yeah, more than that even if you got some regen going. But yeah, so you got level 1 Leech Seed, which is doing like some pretty solid damage and healing you while you're diving, and you're like slowing them with Orb of Venom. Plus you've got 320 move speed. It's like Treant Protector is a really brutal level 1 roamer.
Yeah, we've had success with this hero recently in team practices, and again, Treant falls under that category of heroes I like and I think are interesting. But in the last couple of patches, I've been kind of every time I see Treant picked, I'm like, well, you could have picked X, Y, or Z instead. But Treant is really interesting. Last patch, he got those Nature Guise buffs too. So again, like this is following the kind of CM train that we were talking about earlier of like here's that of continuously getting buffed, continuously been getting buffed. I don't know.
Sure.
English is hard. Venomancer's in the same boat though, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think he's been nerfed for a pretty damn long time. And last, no, 2 patches ago, he was the shit for like a solid week, and then he wasn't. And there wasn't a great deal of reasoning why. Kind of just like the meta changed and people kind of stopped picking him.
Pipe is
And
better
he's,
now.
yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah, pipe getting better is probably a pretty big part of it. But either way, I mean, magic damage is still viable, and he was really fucking good, and he's really fucking good again. So I think we may see more of him. Probably not a Tree Protector Veno combo, but you never know.
Yeah, I we'll see. I think Venomancer he satisfies a weird niche in Dota where like we talked about this with other combos where like a hero singularly is good. A hero like Necrophos who actually got kind of semi he got changed this patch, but we've brought up heroes before that are good heroes, but they don't like fit into the like laning stage, and it's just like, well, where the heck do you put a Treant
Yeah,
Protector or a Venomancer or whatever? And now having that like alternative method of like playing Venomancer and like yeah, you just roam around and you smoke gank or whatever, and then when you're not smoke ganking, you're farming jungle with wards or what have
yeah.
you.
And I think
Like
Tree Protector with the 6 damage, he can be pretty similar to a Night Stalker, like an Iron Talon jungler, if you aren't going to get a lot of usage out of the like Venomancer or Orb of Venom Windlace roaming.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think I brought this up on a podcast recently, but I ran up against a Treant Protector spammer, and he was like a 5K Treant Protector spammer, and he would just 4 slot support. He would start the game with like Iron Talon and a set of tangos, and he would just go and basically like he'd walk to lane, he'd get 2, he'd leech seed, he'd harass the offlaner out, and then you just go jungle with an Iron Talon because the guy does 98 base damage plus the Quelling Blade. And
Yeah.
like the Treant Protector definitely has potential, and like he's super tanky, and like I said, I mean he's an interesting hero. He's got potential,
Once
and
he goes
Nature's
through
Guys.
BKB, yeah, Nature's Guy is really good, especially if Bounty is getting banned out. It's another hero that can go through, put down really deep wards, and scout around very well.
Absolutely. All right. So my next hero is actually Enigma, which is I feel maybe the standout of this patch. I mean, we had a lot of minor changes, but I feel like Enigma. He only got 2 lines of the patch notes, but it's a very important 2 lines. And the really important thing to think about is Enigma's change. His ult now does pure damage, which makes sense. He is making a black hole. It shouldn't do magical damage. It should do pure damage. It's pretty freaking devastating. And it pierces spell immunity. And, generally we think of black hole as an ability not necessarily used for its damage, but it's used for its lockdown and for its, positioning, etc. That being said, pure damage is making his ult effectively do a full 25% more damage, and piercing spell immunity makes it more useful against these heroes like Juggernaut or Nyx or any BKB carrier. So it's a nice buff, and
Yeah, they nerfed his damage a little bit to offset it being pure, but it's still more so. It's more like a 20% damage buff or something like
did they
that.
nerf it this patch?
Yeah, I think it was they made his stuff pure and also reduced the damage. Or am I completely wrong?
I feel like you're completely wrong, but
Well,
I will
we'll
look
see about that.
We will talk about this momentarily. I'm gonna vamp a little Enigma.
Black hole
Black
damage
hole
reduced
damage
from.
reduced, yeah,
God, I'm so
by
smart.
5. No, okay,
5,
so it's
10,
better.
15.
Yeah, 5, 10, 15.
So
So it's still
it's still
better.
better. Yeah,
Yeah,
but not quite as huge.
you're
It
right.
threw me
It's
a bone.
mitigated a bit.
Yeah.
But still, the
Yeah, it's
idea
still fucking
applies.
huge.
And piercing spell immunity makes it so that if you're playing Enigma, you're not going to get screwed because like, oh, suddenly they pierced a. I mean, actually, the ability itself, the stun, always pierced spell immunity, right?
Yeah. And I mean, that was a big part of
Yeah,
black holes.
but
Like, no matter what,
it's
you fucked
nice.
by the black hole. And the midnight pulse also does damage through fucking magic immunity. So if you get like a
Yeah,
pulse and a black hole on someone, like
and
the
Ags.
black, yeah, the black hole is like 600 pure damage. And then you've got fucking midnight pulse underneath. Like, you don't need follow up for Enigma if you get like a real solid setup on it.
I feel like this is almost the TI patch because Enigma is a classic TI hero. It's a
Oh yeah.
classic like a Dota hero even, and I'm not trying to insinuate any kind of dastardly buff intentions to Ice Frog, but it is kind of like you want to have a hero that's exciting to watch and very viewer friendly and like especially new viewer friendly. You know, it's not hard to understand. Like Enigma pops in with a black hole and he does awesome things, and there's tons of lights because he has the immortal, obviously, and like I feel like this is kind of like a hey guys, TI is gonna be fun buff.
Yeah,
See,
I can
unless
kind of
like
see it.
Secret does it.
Enigma is so cool. It's like whenever a big tournament pops up, Enigma gets big again. Not even really because the hero's strong or not. It's just like I don't know. Like in Frankfurt, people were picking like Enigma Tide. Like nothing says
Yeah.
big tournament like people picking fucking reliable team fight ultis like Enigma and Tide Hunter.
That said, like we didn't see that much Enigma at this major. We saw Fnatic DJ played like some crazy strong Enigma. We've also like not to get off on an Enigma tangent, but we've also seen a lot of Enigmas not buying Blink daggers now, which I think is lunacy. But that being said, the players doing
That's
this are like
been common for a pretty
thousands.
long time.
No, all right, it's been common by Puppy, and everybody flames him for it. But
No way, man. I don't know. You live in this like alternate world of Dota that I never see. I mean, I see like anytime I see okay, the I want to say 3 weeks ago, there was a dude who was like telling us that our like this guy on my team was gonna like lose us the game because he doesn't because he buys Blink on Enigma like an idiot, and the whole team agreed that was stupid.
I mean, maybe like were you like are you in like low priority queue or something? Like
No,
I
I'm the same bracket you are, mate. And they're just like, all right, yeah, you get fucking Mech and then BK or Mech and Greaves and BKB and then Blink on Enigma, and everyone's like, yep, that's the build. Has
yeah,
been for many years, passed down by my fathers.
but like you're still buying a Blink dagger eventually.
Yeah, like at like
Yes.
30, 40 minutes.
I'm
I mean,
talking
the
about
hero
like
farm is so fast, you get it faster than that. But yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about like I've seen plenty of pro enigmas not go blink dagger, and it just like again like we talked about this recently, but like it's always confounding to me where like you see a pro do something and like obviously I know they're so much better than me, so they have to have some kind of rationale for it that I'm not seeing. But like certain things like that, like not having a blink dagger on enigma, it's just like I mean, you only that this is a
some
whole nother
items are more
tangent, but
important, man. Guardian Greaves,
I mean, mech is good.
BKBs.
Nobody's gonna argue. Like, mech is good. You push with the Eidolons like 6 minutes or whenever you have your mechanism. Like, it makes sense. But
If you don't got a BKB,
you know,
what's you gonna fucking blink
when
in and get interrupted? What's
when
gonna happen?
Puppy's buying a Crimson Guard instead of a Blink Dagger, like it begs
He
the
knows the
question.
secret. He knows the fucking secret.
He loses all those games too.
Man, that fucking yeah, no, it was the Beastmaster game where the Crimson Guard was like the savior of man.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. But
Yeah.
like, yeah. And anyway, this is not the Pro Dota show. We have the Wednesday show to talk about that. What's your next hero?
Oh God. I don't know, man. Centaur. I don't really have a lot to say about this cat. I mean, he's not a cat, but sometimes
He's
people
close enough.
refer to
He's an
things as
animal.
cats. So yeah, Centaur. I mean, like he was already okay. He's one of those heroes that we were saying, like he gets some heroes get buffed a lot, and then eventually they get good. And I don't think Centaur is quite at that point, especially because Timber got to be the cancer hero of the patch right as the major ended, and like he was played mid and was like, oh, it's Timber. This one thing that like this one pro plays mid. What a weird guy. What a niche hero. But like no,
Yeah.
he's in every fucking game. He's real
Yeah.
fucking good. And
Yeah.
as long as someone can shave strength off, a hero with like 4.8 strength gain is gonna have a weakness.
Yeah, Timbersaw is definitely like a skirt of the patch, but you're absolutely right. I feel like Centaur. We saw him actually get picked at the Middle Major a couple times. We've seen him picked in other things, and the hero kind of has a weird stigma. I feel like I don't have this in front of me, but I know Treant is not a high pick rate hero at all. Sorry, Centaur is not a high pick rate hero at all. Treant also not a high pick rate hero, but Centaur is definitely a strong hero. They, like we've said, they've continuously buffed him, and he has a lot of potential. So I'm kind of excited for this change.
Yeah, I saw
Excited might be the wrong word, but
some guy saying that they played in mid and just like you spam the shit out of double edge, and it's really strong with its very low cooldown now.
wow.
And I can kind of see it. Like there are some heroes that you can play mid just because they have a very spammable nuke, and then the other mid just like can't stay in lane. So I think Centaur may fall into that category, but kind of like it's a cheesy thing. I don't think he'd be like a very strong, stable mid or anything. But he definitely has the potential. If he can do some weird cheesy shit, there's some way to fit him into some kind of meta.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, this is not the specific person you're talking about, but I know Blitz was playing Centaur mid for a little bit on his stream, which I saw and it was interesting. Yeah, it's something. I like seeing any hero that is not popular get these kind of like small buffs, but buffs to just remind you like, hey, this hero is still in the game, still pretty good. And he's, like we said, he's gotten a bunch of buffs recently. The Blade Mail buff helps him out. He's gotten strength buffs. He's gotten all these kind of buffs. He's definitely...
Code of Defiance change is so good for him.
That's another huge point.
Especially if you're using double edge every 5 seconds now. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of damage. So my next hero, and I believe our final hero, is Kunkka, of course. I mean, it wouldn't be a Theorycrafting Thursday without me bringing up my boy, the Admiral. And his buffs were... I feel like he falls under that category, like most 6.88 heroes, where his buffs were not tremendous. It wasn't like... I don't think anybody read these buffs and were like, wow, this hero went from being okay to OP. But it's a nudge in the right direction, and the hero is definitely notably better now. Basically, the difference is that early game at level 1 and 2, Torrent especially, he just has more slow as a component to his ability. And in the mid to late game, if you're playing a core Kunkka, Tidebringer now does more damage at levels 3 and 4. So it's not like tremendous buff, right? Like they didn't do anything crazy with the hero, but
all aspects are slightly better, and not even slightly. I mean, early game Kunkka, like level 1 Torrent having 0.75 more slow on it, that's huge.
Yeah,
that much of a slow difference at level 1, like that's the difference between a kill and not a kill.
Absolutely,
life and death.
We've talked about it before, but not recently. The value of slows in the early game cannot be understated. In the early game, slows are better than stuns. Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. In the early game, slows are in some ways better than stuns. Obviously, certain heroes defy this mechanic, but slows are better because physical attacks, like auto attacks from anybody from a support to a mid to a carry, etc., do effectively more damage. So your slows are more effective because you're getting auto attacks off, whereas stuns in the mid to late game are to prevent people from doing stuff, because that's at that point that the person you're ganking has abilities, has items, etc. So slows are super good, and
that's not to say like 1 second of stun is better than or is worse than 1 second of slow. It's like these things are budgeted. Like you get maybe 2 seconds of slow for every 1 second of stun. You could say something like that, and for every 1.5 seconds of silence, you get 1 second of stun, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, absolutely. It's everything is relative, but in general, like slows are really good. So having more slows on Kunkka is nice, and I mean, I just, I'm biased. I love seeing my boy buffed and having some further excuses to get it picked. I've been having more success on mid Kunkka. I think we've lost every game I've played it, but I personally have been having more success in lane. That being said, I've been running against pucks, and I don't want to get off on this tangent, but if I'm playing Kunkka, there's like basically 2 heroes that I don't ever want to see, and both of their names are puck. That's how much I hate this hero. It's like the most tilting thing in the entire world to play against Puck is Kunkka, and that's all I want to say.
Yeah, it sounds pretty shit. Can you phase shift to the X?
Everything. Yeah,
Okay.
you can phase shift X. You can phase shift
Yeah.
during torrent because there's no animation to phase shift, and torrent does incremental damage. You can phase shift off everything. He's a natural Yule's carrier, so even like you're trying to be tricksy, and you're like, all right, he already used phase shift. Let's do our combo. And he just Yuleses, and it just doesn't matter. Like
Yeah, that sounds shit. Okay.
I mean, we played a game very recently, like 2 nights ago, and I don't think I've ever been so tilted as playing Kunkka against Puck.
And we've seen you pretty tilted.
Oh yeah, constantly. So yeah. On that note, if you are not a Kunkka player and somebody else picks Kunkka, which we're definitely going to be seeing more Kunkka this patch with these like little incremental buffs, all the Kunkka players are going to come out of the woodwork. Pick Puck. If you're a Puck player, have a field day. Like just ruin a guy's life. He'll probably abandon the game halfway through because it's so miserable. Yeah, so that's that.
Okay.
All right, so
So what are we doing this week?
we are playing a combination of heroes. We're going to be playing, like I said earlier, CM, a buffed hero, good hero all around. We've played her once before, not recently though. And you are going to be playing a hero that both of us really like, but has not been relevant for a while after a massive nerfing. His name is Troll Warlord. He has another name. I don't remember it.
Is it still Jack Rahl? I don't know if it is.
It's funny because in my mind I was thinking Jock Rahal, but I didn't know where that came from, so maybe it is. Who knows? But
That's what it
Troll
was back
Warlord.
in the day, I think. Yep. No,
pretty
it's
sure, yeah.
Rakal, something like that. Anyway, Jackal Kid.
I know there's a J in it, and an L,
Uh-huh.
and a bunch
Oh
of
boy,
A's.
Jay Veno.
Yep. So, God, I keep saying Treant. I don't know
Treant
why.
Warlord.
Yeah, Treant Warlord.
I think
Yep,
Nature's Prophet is the Treant Warlord, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He forces them all to fight for him for his
Yeah.
gain and not theirs. Troll
Sounds like a
Warlord
to me.
is a hero that I used to like a lot. I actually,
And then he
people
got
always-
good, and then you hated him. Is that the
No,
standard
no.
story
I
here?
played him when he was good, actually. Until like he became abused. Like I played him very early, 6.83, and then people like started flaming. But then I got frustrated, and it was like, oh, everybody's just playing sniper. So they'd first pick sniper, and I'd first pick troll. That's how I would do
Yeah,
it.
and you'd have to get a blink before they right-clicked you once, otherwise you lose.
Yep. But Troll Warlord's a really cool hero, and I do like this hero. I've actually been playing him every once in a while since then. Korean Barbecue, host of the Wednesday show, I've been in parties with him where he's played a pretty mean Troll Warlord, despite the fact that Troll Warlord is like by many respects, or has been by many respects, considered a bad hero. That being said, this patch he got buffed, and he got a small buff last patch, if I recall correctly, or it might have been a bug fix regarding fervor. But the hero's been, after being nerfed in the ground, getting incrementally better. So maybe this will be the patch where he comes back and he becomes a viable hero. I'm looking forward to it. I like this hero a lot, but like I said, like in recent patches, there have been so many better heroes. So maybe you could talk a little bit about what you're thinking about playing Troll Warlord.
So the patch before the switch or the bug fix was when he became incredibly OP. The last patch they gave him one more fervor stack to gain. So he basically Anyway, we don't need to get into that. Either way, he's stronger now overall. A while ago he lost that 15 damage when you switch into melee form, which made midding him pretty much impossible, and laning him just a little bit harder overall. Any carry that has 47 damage has a tough life. As you can see, when Jug gained, he gained like 6 damage and went from 47 damage to 53, and then became the fucking terror of Juggernaut of that patch.
Yeah.
So yeah, losing that damage really sucks. But you can get a Bassi pretty early, and now Bassi gives you 7 damage, makes up for it pretty decently. But yeah, so Juggernaut's strong. He has a little bit less health when he's in melee form. He has way more health when he's in range form. But to offset that, when he's in melee form, he has like 5 more fucking armor, or three more armor than he did before. So he gains 6 armor whenever he presses Q. Which is pretty fucking good.
That's a lot of armor.
That's a
It's
big
like
number.
That's like half an armlet.
It's like, yeah, it's a little more half an armlet. It's good shit. Yeah, he's pretty strong, I think. Not a lot has happened to him in terms of builds, as far as I've seen. Skrunk once told me that he ran into this troll spammer that was wildly effective that would get a battle fury almost every game, and I tried it out once, and it was really cool because like, all of your damage is in fervor. You auto attack one guy a bunch, and then if you need to switch targets to the next creep, you need to build up a shit ton of stacks, and it sucks. But if you have Battle Fury, you just like beat the shit out of the big creep, and then the cleave helps your the fervor stacks you already have takes care of everything else, and then you press W once on your whirling axes, and then those creeps are fucking dead, and you go on to the next camp. So it seems really cool, and you'd farm fast as shit. But then you have to farm a fucking Battle Fury in this patch, and that's not gonna happen, I don't think. I mean, this guy managed it, but I don't think I will.
Yeah, it's Troll's his itemization, and we were talking about this before the podcast even. His itemization is weird where like there's so many competing builds and like there's so many viable items on him that like just don't fit in. Like I've been seeing Echo Saber Troll every once in a while in a pub game and like it's interesting, but like what do
It
you
just
replace
doesn't
with the
fit.
Echo Saber, right? Like these items like yes, it's cool like Echo Saber Troll or like we were talking about Dragonlance Troll actually because Dragonlance is just super efficient. 1900 gold, 14 agi, 14 strength. That's a lot of stats. But all these different items are all competing for slots and they're competing for gold. And
Yeah.
I had this discussion with somebody on Twitter recently. I believe it was Gothier and Fafnir, and Grouty, where like sure item X might be better than item Y, but it was Dragonlance on somebody. Like Dragonlance might have been good on whatever hero we were talking
Luna
about, but
morphing or something.
it delays the next item. God, it's really bothering me now that I can't remember. Somebody will tweet me about it. But anyway, Dragonlance is good on that hero, yes, but it's delaying your next item by 1900 gold, right? So you have to
And
think
taking
through
up a
that
slot, so you
lens.
need to replace something else to get that item. Like it's
Yes.
rough.
It was Clinks. It was Dragonlance Clinks. That's what
Yeah.
we were talking about. And like my argument, and we don't need to talk about this so much because we're not playing Clinks tonight, but the basic idea is still there, right? Where like a lot of heroes have that item where it's like, yes, I'd love to have that extra bit of stats. Like, oh man, it'd be great if I had, X, Y, or Z on this hero. But even though the item is good, it's delaying your better items, right? So, something to take into
Yeah.
account.
So
Like,
I've got three Troll Warlord builds written out. One I tried to get Echo Saber to work, and it just fucking doesn't. It's like every Troll Warlord build, I feel like no matter what you do, you get. I mean, you always have a slot for TP. Then you have Phase, Aki, Helm. I was trying to think something that you could replace Helm with. You could go flat Morbid Mask, maybe, or Mask of Murder, whatever the fuck it's called these days. I always get
Morbid
that shit
Mask?
confused. Is it
Mask.
Morbid Mask?
It's a Morbid Mask, yeah.
Okay, Mask of Murder was
Han,
fucking
maybe.
Warcraft
I
or
thought
Mask of Death.
Han was the one with the leeches.
I don't know, man. When something's death, something's murder, something's I don't know, whatever.
I
Fuck
don't
this
know.
game.
It's very
Anyway, so
gruesome.
you get just the flat mask. You could do that, but I mean, you're gonna go into Satanic eventually, no matter what you do. I don't think Vlad's is very good. I really value the plus damage or the plus 20 damage, and like, whenever I see a troll walking up to me and he has the fucking goddamn the like alpha wolf behind him, he just hits like that extra bit harder and he kills you. Like, it's just like it's just I don't know. It's really fucking good. I like this Helm of the Dominator shit, man. Especially to get one of those little kobolds. That shit's fucking awesome. But yeah, so you go Helm of the Dominator. So you got Phase, Aki, Helm, and then your TP scroll. So you got like 2 slots left to work with before you replace an Aki. Um, so Echo Saber, like you get Echo, and if you have Echo, you kind of need Blink. Otherwise, you're not really getting much use of Echo if you're like using a bunch of ranged attacks and then getting into melee once you already have all your fervor stacks. Doesn't make any fucking sense. So like you go Aki, Helm, Echo, Blink, and then like what the fuck? Like what is that build? You don't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
So you don't go Echo. It's fucking stupid and you're dumb. Then there's the standard, which didn't change at all, which is TP, Phase, Aki, Helm, S and Y, and then you go BKB off that, and then you replace Aki with MKB or Crit, kind of depending, and then you upgrade Helm to Satanic, and you get a Blink at some point. That's fucking whatever. That's the build. Sometimes you can get Blink instead of MKB, kind of just whatever you want to do. And then there's the new thing I'm trying out, which is probably what I'm gonna be playing here, and it's a slightly more ranged focused build, but really just the idea is I wanted to work Diffusal in because it's just a really fucking strong item right now. I feel like that's the overpowered item these days.
Super efficient.
It's so efficient, and then you look at how every plus damage item got fucked so hard. And then Diffusal, yeah, it's got 25 agi. You're like, oh, okay, 25 agi. That's like 25 damage. That's not that big a number, but also 40 fucking mana burn. And 40 is a big goddamn number. It's a big one.
It's a lot of tens.
It's 4 10s. That's like the Lexical thing. It's as many as 4 10s, right? It was 40 cakes.
Sure, why not?
Okay. Yeah, so that's, man, what an item Diffusal Blade is. Big fan of that.
As am I. Anything else about Troll before I hop into CM?
No, yeah, just the build. You go fucking TP Phase, Aki, Helm. Dragonlance Diffusal Blade, then you replace Aki for your BKB, and then you have Satanic. And it's basically the same amount of gold to get to Town Portal Scroll, Phase Boots, Satanic, Dragonlance, Diffusal BKB as it is for the melee build to get up to its, or for the standard build to get up to its MKB. So they're pretty equivalent. I feel like if you go Deso, you just have a little bit more survivability, and if you go the standard build, you have a little bit more, maybe a little bit more like mid late game versus mid early. So they're kind of interchangeable, but I want to try to make this diffusal shit work because I think it's good.
Yeah, and build wise, you're still just getting 1 point in the switching, and then you're gonna max your the nuke / mischance ability, and then you're gonna max fervor second.
Or
do you max fervor?
So I get one in your switching. Then of course you max your W. You want your whirling axis to do damage ASAP, and then you get of course 1 point in fervor at 4. And then I've been kind of changing how I feel about it. I kind of more or less I'll never have either my switching maxed or my fervor maxed before their other one gets even an additional point in it. Like I'll normally end up maybe 2 in Q and then 3 in fervor, and then maybe max fervor from there or get another couple points in Q. It just depends because like I don't know, getting 1 more point in your Q is like 10 fucking move speed, and that's so important, man. Move speed is a good fucking stat. And then fervor is like 5 more attack speed, which isn't like that impactful. Of course, once you get additional stacks, it gets bigger. But if you're not like hitting the person, it doesn't matter, right? So,
yeah, that's fair. Okay, so on the CM front, this hero, I mean, like we said, she got buffed. I think the real key thing in her builds now are that you're going to be buying Windlace and Boots ASAP. I would even say maybe before you finish Tranquil's out. It all depends on the money situation, right? But in the grand scheme of things, your early items are Tranquil Boots, Windlace, and obviously like wards, etc. CM is one of those classic like 6-slot supports. That's actually one of the reasons I want to play her and have been picking her recently is when my teammates pick like a bunch of junglers and whatever. This is a hero that I feel like I can do like roughly equivalent what I would do with a lot of farm that I can do with a little farm. There's probably no more complicated way I could have worded that sentence, but whatever. CM though, she has a lot of variation in her item builds. Generally, what you want to do is you want to build mobility because, like we've said, this hero is so slow and she's so heavily positioning based with her ultimate. The difference between a really good CM ultimate and a really bad one is like the difference of a Force Staff or a Blink Dagger, and that's why generally you see those Blink Daggers and Force Staffs as those high priority items. I haven't built it this patch yet. Granted, I haven't actually played CM since 6.88 came out, but Aether Lens is nice on CM as well. It's kind of an item. Intuitively, you don't want to buy mana boots on CM because obviously she has the mana aura, but the extra mana is really great to have so you can actually cast your ultimate and a couple of nukes or a couple of frostbites. A lot of times if you're running around, you're going to run dry on mana, which is rough. And then after that, you just go your basic stuff. You need a Glimmer Cape, you buy a Glimmer Cape, what have you. I've toyed with multiple builds skill-wise. Recently, we've talked about this before. It's very bad on CM if you max your aura first. That being said, 1 point is very good, and 2 points in some games is also very good. At 3 or 4 points, that's when you're really overcommitting. I've seen certain people max Crystal Nova and other people max Frostbite. I'm still kind of on the fence. A lot of times I'll just go like 2-2-1 at 5 because I'm very non-committal, and I don't know, like both these skills scale pretty evenly, right? There's not one that's like, oh boy, the difference from 1 to 2 points in Frostbite is so much better than the difference from 1 point to 2 point in Crystal Nova, right? There's not any huge, breaking points.
I would say Frostbite 3 to 4 is like a huge deal compared to Crystal Nova 3 to 4. Like once you're shaving a second from going like 7 seconds to 6 seconds, like percentage wise, the amount of uptime you're getting, like you're going to 50% uptime with Frostbite once you go from like 0.3 to 0.4. But for Crystal Nova, it's like not quite as big a deal. No, it's the same. It's slightly different, but 50% uptime also with Crystal Nova. But shaving a second from 10 to 9 is smaller than 7 to 6.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe Fly, who's playing CM for OG all these all through the major, was very frequently maxing Frostbite over Crystal Nova, and I know recently I was watching some game, whether it was one of our friends' pub games or whether it was a pro game, where the CM was doing something similar. So I think that's what I will probably be doing on Frostbite. On level.
Yo, here's the business. All right, Life Stealer, Rage, cooldown, or rather, is it duration? Fuck. Yeah, duration of Rage is 6 seconds. So if you get Frostbite to 6 seconds, you can like force him to Rage and then immediately get him after Rage is up. That sounds pretty solid.
That makes sense. Yeah. CM definitely has a lot of options, right? She, as long as you don't die, you can do a lot with the hero. And
yeah.
I don't know.
That's where that Aether Lens comes in. Like, what makes you a good support player is like how many rounds of your spells you can get off in a fight. That's one of the things, right? In CM, like you don't have enough mana for 2 rounds or for 2 rounds of spells and your ulti. You have enough for either 2 rounds of spells or your ulti, and then extra mana pool, man. It goes so much work.
Good shit. CM has a weird stigma behind her where I feel like a lot of people pick her or suggest they're new to Dota player friends, like, oh hey, just play CM, she's simple, she's squishy. CM is a hard support to play, in my opinion, and I think in the opinions of many people, right? She's very unforgiving. So CM, she has a high skill, not necessarily barrier, but the difference between a really good CM player, which admittedly I could play CM at a general competency, but I've run against some crazy good CM spammers. And there's a big difference between really good CM players and really bad ones. And
I'd say there are some people who think CM is like entitled to feed and not be blamed for it. But that is not the case.
Yeah, that is definitely the point. So that's kind of my 2 cents. We could have a whole nother show on what heroes to introduce your Dota.
I would also say my views on Arcane Aura have shifted a little bit, not much, but like I'm cool with 2 and maybe even 3 points in Arcane Aura if I'm playing Phantom Assassin. But outside of that, I think 2 points. I think 1 is too little, honestly. I think having 2 points at 4 is good. For the most part, if you're doing like a lot of jungling with Frostbite and it's like Crystal Nova going up to 120 mana is like pretty rough. I've just seen a lot of times CMs like when they only have 1 point and then they have 2 points in like Nova or something, like they can be out of mana pretty early. But, I think 2 points is solid. Any more than that is like you're definitely gonna have to have a good reason.
Okay, so on that note, do you want to just hop into the game?
Nah.
All right, cool, perfect. All right, everyone, we are back. We have just finished our game. It was a grueling endeavor. It was 56 minutes long. We've had some long games recently here, haven't we, Proud?
Yeah.
This game, well, I'll read the teams first. It was a nice back and forth game. It wasn't a stomp either way. But during different phases of the game, different teams were ahead or behind for varying reasons. Our comp was actually a 2-1-2, which we don't usually run too much. We had an off-lane Zeus Slardar lane, with the Zeus was actually farming. The middle lane was populated by a Templar Assassin that was used by BKB the entire game, which is a large reason why we lost. And our lane, of course, was Crystal Maiden Troll Warlord. The enemy team had a roaming Bounty Hunter, a mid Storm Spirit, an off-lane Darkseer, and a safe lane Anti-Mage Disruptor combo, which I guess if we're talking about the tempo of this game, I think Prod and I would agree that we dominated pretty hard for like, I don't know, what'd you say, like 20 minutes, 25 minutes maybe?
Yeah, I would say like almost 30 even. Like that's when we got the racks, I think.
Yeah. And it was one of those games where, and we got some flack recently because, we made the classic Dota player mistake of just like flaming our teammates. But this was one of those games where I will say it this way: I had a ton of fun playing CM. I think I had a really good game actually. It just kind of didn't work out. Our big problem was the enemy team with that Darkseer Disruptor combo. They had a lot of team fight and they were super mobile with the Storm Spirit AM combo, whereas our team we did a lot of damage, but we didn't have hard lockdown once they bought like a whole bunch of Lincoln Spheres. And by a whole bunch, I mean 2. But that's a lot. Like, it felt like a lot. And then we're even double Lincolnsing. Like, the Bounty Hunter had a Lincoln Sphere, and the Storm Spirit had a Lincoln Sphere. So Bounty Hunter would throw his Lincoln Sphere buff on Storm. Storm would ball in, he'd do his business. And then when you tried to, like, you know, do your classic thing, like I had a Yules. So I had Yules and then try to freeze. But I had Yules, and it would get blocked by Lincolns. And then I try to freeze, and it get blocked by Lincolns, and then I just die. And I just punched my desk. So it was a game. It was rough. It was one of those times where you really wish your TA bought a BKB. I'll put it that way. It's not fun building a BKB because you're like, oh, build it, man. I could build a Daedalus, but BKB is better, and especially when you're getting repeatedly killed by a disruptor. What did you think, Proud?
I think at some point everything went to shit. And from the 29-minute mark to the 55-minute mark, I gained 2,000 net worth.
Boy,
Yeah.
I did not realize it was that bad.
Yeah. I got picked off every single fucking team fight, and I also had to buy back on cooldown because no one else would.
Yeah, we definitely suffered from a lack of buying back. Like, TA had buyback, and not to concentrate all the flame or blame one singular person, but the TA had buyback when we were losing our top racks and just didn't use it. And buybacks turns out are pretty good. TA actually, to his or her credit, had an interesting build where, and on Tryhard Tuesday actually talked about this in great length. The new Hurricane Pike, they buffed it. They made it so it gives 100 attack speed while you have the active that gives you, the rangeless hits. Now it gives 100 attack speed. So it was very good against this opposing anti-mage, because anti-mage, you'd be fighting him and you could chase him with a blink dagger, but if you Hurricane Pike him, it doesn't matter how far he blinks away. Like, you're just punching him to death. And there were a few times in the mid-game, right after he had, I think his build was, Treads, Aquila, Deso, Hurricane Pike, Blink, I want to say.
Yeah.
And there were a few times where, it was super effective, and I was, envious, because, I've been known to play a bit of TA, not recently, but it was a cool build. But as the game progressed, it just kind of, this guy did not build a BKB. And I can't stress enough how important BKB is in a lot of games. And a lot of people don't like buying BKB, myself included. But it's a good item. And being able to do things for 5 to 10 seconds when you otherwise would not be able to do things and would be dying, that makes the game fun, turns out.
Especially when you're against a Disruptor with Glimpse, and then Storm Spirit with he's got Orchid and his own stun, and this is a lot of things to BKB off in Dota 2.
Yeah, so that's pretty important. Let's see. I guess I'll talk about my build a little. I went greedy, and it actually really paid off. I bought a Midas really early. I think I had a Midas 12, maybe 13. Which Midas is an item on CM that used to be kind of popular. Nowadays, it's rare. It's kind of rare, I feel, to see CMs go Midas. But I just had the money for it. I was super successful in my early ganks, and we just dominated the Storm Spirit in the mid lane. And then we even got some kills top, and I think we killed Darkseer a couple times bottom even.
Yeah,
so,
and then I think we killed Bounty Hunter bot once or twice too. Everything was awesome at the early game.
Yeah, and so I went Midas, and Pride, maybe I used to know the number. What is the amount of time where Midas pays itself off?
I think it's 17.
Minutes?
I think it's 17.
Yeah,
it was
17.
15 before they increased the cost of it, but it's 17 now.
Yeah, so I definitely got my money's worth doubly for this.
And then that's not even counting if you were to sell it back or counting all the extra experience you got. So
true. Yeah, I was keeping up with levels with our mid laner and our cores and stuff. So I definitely was very happy with the Midas pickup. After Midas though, and of course I went Tranquil Boots, Windlace first. After that I built a Yule Scepter, which was crucial to this game, and then I went BKB, and then I was building a Scythe, but then the game ended. And I had to buy back, so I couldn't finish my Scythe. But I was pleasantly surprised with how my build went, considering I didn't have the Blink Dagger or the Force Staff. Generally, that's the classic CM item, and that's even what I advocated for in the earlier portion, was the high mobility builds. That's what I talk about on like every support. But Yule Scepter and Tranquil Boots, like I run pretty darn fast, and we did have like a bunch of cores that really needed to be addressed, so that I kind of just was left by the wayside. And like once I had BKB off, I was able to get really good ults in. But at the end of the game, like a CM is not going to drastically turn the tides. But I think it was proof of concept as far as like playing CM, regardless of this combo or regardless of the point of the show. I had a lot of fun playing CM, and I honestly, like I said this in the VOD, feel like I'm going to just play a ton of CM in like the next week or two.
Yeah, she's pretty strong.
Would you say that you will be playing Troll in the next couple weeks or no?
I'm not really sure. That game was just like pretty bad in general. Like I don't think I would ever pick Troll against a Storm on purpose. That's a really fucking hard matchup.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have any. Like if we had like a Lion or something, because like you would just frostbite him, and then he would ball out, and then we would have nothing, and he would kill everyone, despite being like having only brown boots at 14 minutes. Like our team was so fucking bad against him that a brown boot Storm at 14 minutes like got a killing spree.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And we've touched on this before, and it's kind of like a pointless gripe, but it is unfortunate. We're on a losing streak, I think, for the show, and it's a weird dynamic where Dota is such a game based off of picking and counterpicking that when you go into a game, and whether it's, for doing something like this, where, you say, all right, we're going to play Troll Warlord CM, or to use a more practical example, a lot of like the mid spammers that are like, all right, I'm playing Invoker this game, all right, I'm playing Storm Spirit, I'm playing, X, Y, or Z, or like Slark pickers, spammers, any real spam hero person, you really suffer when like, sure, like you are really good at, X hero, or you really want to play X hero, but in a lot of games, it's just not the pick.
We could change the show to like Juggernaut plus X every game.
Yeah, I'm definitely, this is not at all a gripe about the show, but it is just an unfortunate reality, right? When you pick these kind of things, sometimes you just get screwed, and it's just the reality of situation.
I mean, being like the offlane we were against, like Darkseer, wasn't a problem at all. Like I'm sure that guy didn't pick Storm like to counter us, but it was just kind of an unfortunate side effect. Like the Troll against Darkseer matchup was kind of rough at the start, but then it was like really good and super easy, and he had to like go jungle, which is like unheard of.
Yeah.
So like Troll against Darkseer, like building up fervor stacks and just focus firing down the Ion Shell creep is really strong. So like that was fine, and then like the bounty wasn't that big a deal. It was just, man, like that fucking Storm, and then Disruptor also is pretty strong against Troll. And then my build, I tried out the Dragonlance Diffusal, and it was like pretty good, but I feel like you get enough like passive slow without having to burn Diffusal charges with S and Y, and then your Whirling Axes, especially now that it got a bigger the range Whirling Axes got a bigger range this patch too.
Mm-hmm.
So like that shit's good enough on its own. Like you don't really need the Diffusal. The purge on Ghost Scepter is nice, but you also already have some built-in magic damage, so like Ghost Scepter isn't the end of the world if you still have like your melee Whirling Axes to burn. Especially because like as a Juggernaut, it's not like you can spin in the middle of like doing damage to someone. Like you're either spinning or you're doing damage. But with Troll, like you could just press W. It has a 0 cast point, and it happens like in the middle of your fucking auto attack. So
yeah,
Ghost Scepter harms Troll a bit less than most other conventional people who have to pick up Diffusal Lance to counter. So I would say drop the Lance, drop the Diffusal, just play standard Troll. As sad as it is to say.
Yeah, it's not like it's definitely one of those builds where it's like it's very straightforward. Like just build a lot of stats. It's not rocket science, and I think we all
S and Y, get BKB, then you decide if you want MKB or if you want fucking Scotty. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of harmed in some ways by our like need to innovate. Like the kind of silly example, I suppose, would be like I play not recently, but I used to play like a lot of Battle Fury Invoker and like Armlet Lena and like Armlet on weird supports and stuff, and like it's fun and like it's jokey and like I legitimately have a really high win rate with Battle Fury Invoker, even when like I wasn't playing it as like I build real items and then like once we're dominating I build Battle Fury. Like I used to just build like Phase Boots, Yules, or Force Staff and then just Battle Fury, Battle Fury, Battle Fury. And like, you can do these kind of jokey builds and like to bring it to a more practical example, like the Dragonlance Diffusal build, when we were talking about it, like sounds like really concrete and like it has a lot of legitimate upsides, but at the end of the day, like some builds, it's just like just build a bunch of stats, or like just build tanky, or like, if you're playing Viper, it's like, yeah, you want to build cool stuff, but like you should probably just build like, a mechanism and then like whatever else, like pipe, Crimson Guard, and just tank and just be annoying. Like it's kind of an unnecessary innovation, I suppose. But I mean that's about that. I don't have too many more comments about the game. Like I said, I mean, my takeaway is really I want to play more CM now. Like, I had so much fun that game, even though we did kind of, like, get stomped for, like, the last 20 minutes. But, like, for the first 30 minutes, like, I got so much work done. It was so good. So,
Word.
that's kind of my closing thoughts on the game. Do you have any closing thoughts on the game before we hop into plugs?
No.
Yeah. I mean, my other closing comment would be if you... Actually, that's kind of irrelevant, but, like, going back to, like, we picked this combo, I think in a real game, when you see their team comp, you just, like, pick Anti-Mage. Like, Anti-Mage was such a good pick this game.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. No big deal. Only party MMR at the end of the day. So that being said, we've got some plugs to do, shall we? You can watch us stream tonight, actually, when we're recording this. Wednesday nights are our in-house nights. They start at 9 EST. You can check out, all of the information on our ladder tab on our website, which is defenseofthepatients.com. On there, you can find, dates, times, etc., etc. You can find our ladder, of course. So that's a good time. Grady hosts them. He's a guy, but it's a good time. I shouldn't make fun of Growdy, actually. He's a nice guy. Don't let him know that I said that. That's on twitch.tv/.ptv. I also stream there very regularly. We stream a lot of our Hakuna Marana practices. Our YouTube channel, .ptv1, that's where you can watch the game that we just played. That is in my perspective. Our website, like I said, defenseofthepatients.com. There's an Amazon banner on there, and you can click that. It costs you no extra money. It gives us a little cut. So, if you want to support the show, do that. Also, if you like to support the show, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/defenseofthepatients. That's a good time. If you don't want to give us anything monetary, that's totally fine. I too am a poor college student. So you can go on iTunes and just give us a review. That helps. And, it helps. Even if, you want to give us suggestions, what we should do different, etc., what you want to see from .p, we would appreciate that very much. If you want to get in contact with us, we have an email, defenseofthepatients@gmail.com. We also have Twitter. I'm at Ursinity. Proud is at Proud Dota, and our overall show Twitter is @p_show. Those are by far the best way to get in touch with me personally, and also we all check them pretty regularly. Our Reddit is r/defenseofthepatients. That's another way to get in contact with the community, with us, etc. We also have a Discord channel, which is a lot of fun to be in. Today was a lot of dog pictures, and who doesn't love dog pictures?
I don't really care for them.
Wow. All right. On that note, I'm like just so ashamed that my co-host isn't a dog person that I think we need to we're done. If you run this combo, it's probably your mid TA's fault. Build freaking BKBs, boys. That's a lot of B words. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. And
frickin' is an F.
Is it? I thought it started with a silent B.
No, it's not. But frickin'.
Oh, whoops. Okay. All right. Thanks for listening. See
you
y'all
can do it as a verb, like I be frickin'.
I be
up
frickin'.
In this bitch.
That's the title of the episode, actually.
I be frickin'.
Bye-bye.
Not to be confused with ibuprofen.